I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Do you remember the first movie you saw as a kid on the big screen that blew your mind? A movie, whether a masterpiece or something mediocre, that struck you in such a way that you left the theater stunned at what movies could accomplish. For some, that movie was Star Wars, and for younger kids, maybe it's their first Marvel Studios experience. Every one of us has seen a film that dropped our jaw to the floor and left us wanting more. Those are special film experiences that can alter the way you see cinema moving forward. Speed Racer is one of those films. I'm Alex Mady, and welcome to the Unpopular Opinion. Speed Racer is a near-perfect movie-going experience. I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying that. Speed Racer isn't a seminal piece of filmmaking or unquestionable quality or without flaws. No, when I say near perfect, I mean that insofar as action-adventure films go, Speed Racer is nearly unmatched in regards to going to the movies and experiencing film. I have found that many movies make the excuse, it's just supposed to be fun, don't think about it too much, in order to hide issues such as bland characters, unmotivated plots, boring camera work, and disconnected screenwriting. But I have also always been convinced that it is possible for a popcorn flick to have all of those things in the positive and still be a thrillingly fun visual action adventure ride. You can have a well-constructed movie that still makes jaws drop in awe and a room filled with giddy laughter, and that is exactly what Speed Racer does. And once you have experienced it, my god, I don't know how you can go back. The fundamental difference between Speed Racer and most other movies is that it superbly illustrates the ultimate childlike experience. Not childish, but childlike. Childish is acting with the impulses of a child, selfish, immature, unguided by care or concern for others. Childlike is being filled with the freedom, joy, abandon, wonder, burning desire for discovery that so often drives kids. Speed Racer is full of that childlike wonder from the first frame through the final credits. The frenetic energy, the swift transitions, the blindingly rich colors that paint Speed Racer's world, these are all the hallmarks of the lens through which children experience their lives. The Wachowskis, in a very risky move, chose to completely inundate every single frame. Plot, character beat, every action moment in a wash of wondrous joy and enthusiasm. They didn't pull a single punch in this decision, and unlike so many of the past movies I've reviewed for this column, Speed Racer knows exactly what it is. This is a fantasy, an adventure of the purest sort, painted so much broader than life and with a willingness to abandon any sense of our reality and allow it to be replaced by a complete sense of Speed Racer's reality. Never once do the Wachowskis try to force their tale to be told in a language that would be inappropriate in this context. Never do they allow it to drift into melodrama or into a place of serious Earth-like reality. They stay firm in the tone and identity they have chosen, and for that alone, I think they deserve a fair amount of commendation. Except that's not even all that makes this a good movie, not by a long shot. Also very deserving are the skill of its execution, the effectiveness of its presence, and the storytelling enhancement it brings in the constant state of motion that exists in Speed Racer. You may notice that when the camera is still, the people and cars are moving, and when the camera is moving, the people and cars are either still or moving along with it. The point is, something about Speed Racer's world is always in motion, which works well and makes good sense considering that this is a wondrous fantasy adventure called Speed Racer. And not only is there movement present in this Technicolor tale, but the movement itself is consistently made interesting and inventive and just plain exciting to watch. Everything in this movie that moves in a fashion which is out of the ordinary, whether it be in terms of the speed at which the movement occurs on the path of travel, swoops and curves. It all constantly catches the audience's eye and draws us into the tale. This worked to expand the world for me, generating a kind of depth due to how everything was always traveling. I continuously found myself leaning forward in my seat, even when watching at home. When a piece of entertainment can actually put you on the edge of your seat, you know it works. With Speed Racer, I was on the edge of my seat for over 2 hours. In regards to running time, some criticisms have pointed out the length of the movie. Some of the races would have fared just as well with a few of the fancy car tricks taken out and some of the tracks shortened, but Speed Racer could only use trimming of small bits here and there, which would just add up over time. Nothing drags too egregiously, and there is something about every single scene that's important for one reason or another. And yes, complaints might be and have been raised as to the plotting of the movie being too simple for adults and too complicated for kids, which perhaps is arguably the one way in which the Wachowskis overreached. Speed Racer's storyline isn't a whole lot more than a vehicle, if you pardon the pun, for us to encounter these characters and experience the wonder I continue to mention, and see some really, really awesome races. I've gone on at length about the style and tone of Speed Racer because they're the two most obvious elements that allow such a potentially outlandish tale to work in live action, but to say that they are the only two elements would discount the pitch-perfect acting turns from just about everyone involved, be it Emil Hirsch's determined innocence, the charmingly grim demeanor of Matthew Fox, or the strong and loving presence of John Goodman. It would discount the fantastic score from Michael Giacchino, who knows just when to underscore a moment or lift our hearts into our throats. And it would discount the skillful way in which the Wachowskis are able to introduce character decisions and storytelling moments that really matter. There are some really solid messages to be found here, served up in such a way so as to sidestep pandering and skip straight to being inspiringly effective. The Wachowskis managed to bring the very distinct look of anime to live action by keeping all of the quirks and weirdness of the original Japanese animation intact. From the over-the-top action to the spot-on casting, including Christina Ricci as Trixie and Susan Sarandon as Mom Racer. Speed Racer has great supporting players including Benno Furman as Inspector Detector, and the underrated Roger Allam as the dastardly Arnold Royalton. There are also some nice cameos from Richard Roundtree as a race announcer. The highlight performances here come from Ricci and Goodman, who both bring a vitality to their characters that comes right from the original cartoon. Ricci is both cute and sexy as Trixie, and will surely ignite an entire generation with thoughts that will elevate them from Saturday morning cartoons to late Saturday night, cartoons. Goodman is always a welcome presence, but he and Sarandon are both familial archetypes that maintain multiple dimensions to their characters. Emil Hirsch has always been a solid actor, and while he never seems to be a perfect match for the physical look of Speed Racer, his grit and optimism make him a good fit for the role. If anything, I wish we'd gotten more time with Racer X. Matthew Fox was a hot commodity thanks to Lost when the movie came out, and I was hoping for a lot more with his mysterious character. If we ever had gotten a sequel, I would have liked to see more exploration of the dynamic between Racer X and Speed. But at the end of the day, Speed Racer's greatest accomplishment can be summed up with this. Somehow, the Wachowskis managed to tap into the secret dream of the child buried deep in every one of us, one that is normally only fed on the scraps of our half-remembered hopes. I've never seen a movie so bursting with life, energy, or the boundless sense of play that directs the excited explorations of so many children. Or perhaps it'd be better to use a line from the movie itself to explain what I mean. During the Casa Cristo race, one of the announcers watching Speed race can't help but exclaim, "I know he blew up on Fuji, but this kid's flat out magic," which is exactly how I felt watching Speed Racer. I know the Wachowskis blew up with the second two Matrix movies, but this movie is flat out magic. But hey, that's just my unpopular opinion. Tell us yours in the comments below. I'm Alex Mady with JoBlo.com.